Hello everyone. Today I'm going to go over a pretty famous medium question that I solved just about 5 minutes ago by myself. I actually really struggled with this one for like days, and then I actually drew some examples on paper an hour ago and I was finally able to solve it. It is pretty confusing at first, so let me try to break it down for you. So essentially you're given a nice formula. If you solve string compression, this is actually very similar. So if you read it, it says run length code encoding is a string compression method that replaces the consecutive identical characters with a concatenation of the character and the number marking the count of the characters, the length of the run. So essentially what it means is that you have to input the frequent, we start with a base case and we have to input the frequency of the actual, how many numbers we have in a row, and then the number itself. So we have one frequency of ones and then one itself. And then for each recursive call, we have to do that for the previous one. So here we have two ones, two is the frequency, and then one is the actual value itself. And then if we have multiple ones, we can do that. So for example, here we have one count of two, and then the two is the value itself. And then one count of one, and then one is the value itself. And we keep doing this until n. So you can do this recursively, but I like to do it iteratively because I find it's easier. So what we want to do is essentially, and this is actually making it easier for me. If you want to just say the words, it helps a lot. So we start with one. For example, we got one, right? And then here we got ones, right? And then here we got two ones. And then from here, let's not copy their example. Let's try to see what we're going to do. So this is going to be 1, 2, and then 1, 1, right? And if you map that out exactly, it's 1, 2, 1, 1, right? And then let's go do 5, for example. So here we got 1, 1, frequency number, 1, 2, frequency number, 1, 1, 2 is the frequency and then the number, and then two ones actually, because because in a row, right? Two ones, and that's it. Because we don't want to include 1, 1, and 1, 1 because this is a row by itself. And then if you map that out, it's 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, and that's going to be for 5. And let's do that for 6 as well. So we can see we have 3 ones, right? So 3, 1, frequency value, 2, 2, frequency value, and then 1, 1. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. So yeah, and now I'm going to show you how to code it up. So essentially, let's start with a base case. Let's call this result. So count and say 1 is always going to be 1. And let's start building up from the base case. So for I in range, let's find the recursive call for count and say 2 up to n plus 1 because we want to include n itself, right? We want to find n, not because Python only goes up to, not including this number itself. So if you just did n, it's going to go up to, if n was 3, it's going to go up to including 2, not 3. So now what we can do is let's create a list called current to hold how do we count numbers in a row and how many we have. Python has this nice group by function to do that. And so this is pretty confusing, but essentially B gives you the frequency of itself, and then A is the actual character. So we're going to append the actual length of the list of B because B is going to be a list. That's just how the syntax works. And then A is the actual character itself. And let's print current to see in group by result. And cool, so we got the first two characters of 4. Now what we can do is we can build up what we wanted to build up. So essentially we can just call this new, and we can iterate over our list and append the string of both of them, because the result's going to be a string, right? Let's print new to see what it looks like. I think that's how I did it. I'm not sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, that is how I did it, because so new is going to be your new compressed run from whatever the previous one was, and then we're going to set that to result, because we're going to iterate over result each time to group by, so we have to update that for it to work. And the reason is, if you can see, current is going to be the value, or the frequency, and then the value, and then the frequency, and then the value, because I reversed these. And then if we, for example, if you run some test cases for 6, that's going to work as well. Let's just do this so you can see it. Where's the test case? N equals to 6, for example. And you get 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2 1s, right? 1, 1, 1, 2, and then 2 1s. So every single even index is going to be the frequency. If you remember that, it's a lot easier, and you got to be careful with this group by, because I tripped me up for like an hour. And then obviously you want to return your result, which I think I forgot as well. And yep, so this is, we're updating result to this new thing, because we don't want to include what was before. What was before is completely irrelevant. We just care about this chart. If you add this, if you add result to new, then that's not going to be correct. You're going to get completely different results, and you just have to really look at this diagram and draw some examples. And if you know how group by works in Python, I think this is pretty simple. So let's run it again, and let's submit it. And as I can see, it passes all the test cases. I know that a lot of people wanted to do this recursively, but I think this is just more straightforward for me. And yeah, so hope this helps, and thank you for watching.